Today, we will be focusing on, current gains across the cryptocurrency market, particularly with Bitcoin. We have seen Bitcoin surpass the 100,000 mark and even, advance further to 102, 105,000. And this has been, attributed to political influence from the Securities and Exchange Commission, endorsing cryptocurrency, to Donald Trump emerging as president, and as we, march on to his swearing in. He has always been vocal about cryptocurrency and, Bitcoin and Ethereum as in general. So today we shall be looking at that spike and, what really did contribute to that spike and what to expect going forward. And of course, what the implications are for Nigerians in Nigeria. And my guest, who is a financial expert, Yemmie Olaleye, will be joining me after the break. So let's go now on a short break. When we return, the conversation continues. Thank you for still staying with us. You are watching Business Daily, coming to you live on Trust TV. And at the start of, just before the break rather, I did say that today we will be talking about recent spike or growth that has been witnessed in, the cryptocurrency market globally. Speaking about Bitcoin particularly, where we have seen Bitcoin surpass the 100,000 mark and has even, advanced further to as high as 105,000. And the question now on the minds of most people is, what has contributed to this spike and how does this impact Nigeria as a country? But I do have an expert joining me right now who hopefully will, help us dissect all of these questions that we have on our minds. I am joined by a financial market analyst in the person of Yemmie Olaleye. Thank you, Yemmie, for joining us on Business Daily today.
Good morning. So sorry, I cannot hear you clearly. Good morning, you can hear me.
I'm not sure if you can hear me. Mr. Olaleye, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm trying to. So sorry, I'm coming.
Okay. Thank you once again for joining us on the program. I would like for us to just begin by you giving us, your thoughts on, Bitcoin crossing the 100,000 mark and what this means for the cryptocurrency market and for the traditional financial market in this moment.
All right. Hello, can you hear me? Okay.
Okay, let us go on a short break. The program continues shortly. We do have Yemmie Olaleye with us on the program now. Good morning to you, Mr. Olaleye.
Good morning, Ms. Chiamaka. Good morning once again. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us on the program today. I did ask you to give us, your overall assessment of the current state of the crypto market. We have seen, tremendous spikes happen lately, especially with Bitcoin surpassing the 100,000 mark and eventually, even advancing further. But the question now is, what does this mean for the cryptocurrency market and for the traditional financial systems?
All right, thank you very much. It's quite important to address the recent surge we experienced on the Bitcoin as it breaks the all-time high record since inception and hitting $100,000 US, even above that 200 and 304 is quite a milestone. And what that simply means is making a bold statement that the future that we talk about every single time is already here. The adoption has really been heightened. There is so much future and anticipation, and the driver of this forces is nothing else than optimism. And there are so many reasons that we can actually trace back to why we saw that surge in the market. But the most glaring, the most obvious one is the Donald Trump effect, based on the statement he made that he was going to nominate. He actually nominated Paul Atkins as the new chair for the Securities and Exchanges Commission for the U.S. as against the Gary Gensler that was there. And the reason is because he believed that it's going to make a little bit of the enforcement to be less stricter than the way it was before. And that alone was a very good move for a lot of institutional investors and developers and users across the globe. And for that reason, everybody jumped in to buy that Bitcoin and to use that to hold so that they can earn so much money. And that was basically the reason we had that surge. And one thing it tells us is if that continues with Bitcoin, then there's so much opportunities and potentials for the altcoins to also follow the same trend to increase in value as a virtual asset.
But let me ask you, how significant is this growth? Because you have, mentioned the case of influence from political to economic influence, like you rightly mentioned. But how significant is this, this growth or this spike, if I should call it that?
Okay, how significant is that influence, right?
Yes, how significant is this growth, not just for, traders, but for government? Because you have mentioned, some political influence that currently does exist that has, caused this growth. So how significant is this, not just for the United States, but, for traders and for other governments that might be watching to see what really goes on in the cryptocurrency market?
Okay, basically, the significance is quite large in the trading environment, in the trading community, because there are a lot of traders that are trading Bitcoin US dollar. And that alone is enough energy to know that this is a bullish market. We call it a bull run. So for some time now, when we have such political tension or geopolitical tension, it tells directly on how the currencies of the world will react. Talking of the Bitcoin itself, when such statement is made in USA, for example, by such an influential personality, the significance of such statement will affect that market. That is actually what we refer to as the volatility in our business, which means it can actually be down, it can actually be up. The statement that is being made is what really matters. If it's coming with energy, with a positive energy, we're going to see such. If it's coming with a negative energy, we're going to see how people are going to dump it. We call it people sell. People just leave their investment and run away. So that is very significant, and it cuts across the globe on trading platforms and the brokers and all of that. It really cuts across. It's very, very significant.
I will like for us to speak on, concerns around volatility, because in the past we had seen, Bitcoin hit about 90,000 and then retraced even backward, went backward again. And so in my opinion, it's not uhuru yet. So personally, I would still want to trade with caution. But let's hear from you. Should there be concerns around, Bitcoin retracting or losses happening in the short to medium term?
Okay, that is a very sensitive question, and it is a very good one to ask, especially for those that are not financially inclined that are doing this business. So, ideally, when you drive your car, when you eat on day one, and after matching your throttle for a long time, it will get to a maximum speed. And at that maximum speed, what do? You match on your clutch and you change the gear. That inertial movement, the little bit of rest or the little bit of drop in that momentum, it is what we call retracement in our business. And that also goes to the Bitcoin. Anytime it gets to hit the all-time high, when it breaks a record, we do not expect it to continue like that. The market can just buy like that for a long time or for a lifetime. It won't sell for a lifetime as well. So there's something we call a retracement. Retracement is a temporary return of a market from a peak level or from a trough level. So in Bitcoin case, it has moved from, let's say, from $20,000 to $60,000, and it has to move from $60,000 to 50. When it gets to 50, it gains momentum again to go bullish. We call it bullish. And move from 50,000 to 90,000. Can you see that it breaks the record of the 70,000? So each time it gets to all-time high, there is high tendency in the market that it has to do a retracement. That's the temporary reversal in the trend of that market. So when Bitcoin hit that $100,000, I was expecting that retracement. Many crypto analysts in the world, they are expecting that market to retrace. And currently, it's been retracing. So the only thing an investor will do is to find a spot, we call it discounted price level, where the market will likely come to when the price must have reduced from $103,000 to probably $95,000 or $90,000, and find other consolidating information, data that will enable such investors to buy from there. So that is the best way to trade it. So when it hit all-time high, just like Naira to dollar, when it hit all-time high, there is tendency for a retracement. And from the essence of that retracement is to give opportunity to those that can buy at a lower price level.
But how has this spike with Bitcoin particularly affected, other cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum and other alternate coins? Has there been an impact on other coins, cryptocurrencies, alternate coins in general?
Yes, of course. Yes, especially on Ethereum. It also received about 9% growth, because when you see Bitcoin really growing, the altcoins have that potential to also grow. When you see Bitcoin depreciating in value against US dollar, you see the same thing happening to the altcoin. Bitcoin is just the king of the all other cryptocurrency. So every other currencies are called altcoin. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, yes. Once it's moving in the upward direction, there's tendency for the altcoins to follow suit. When it's moving in a downward direction, there is also a tendency for the other currencies to follow suit. So it happens that way. It has a lot of magnitude and influence on the altcoins in whichever direction Bitcoin is heading.
But I'd like for you to explain to us, especially in layman language, why is that the case? I mean, when you see Bitcoin moving a certain direction, the other coins also tend to follow suit. Why is that the case?
Okay, so as the king of cryptocurrency, if you're dealing with Bitcoin, which has the highest, let's say, stakeholders in the market, which people have more, which people believe more in its growth and in its essence, when you are able to buy and you are able to see assets growing and you have Bitcoin going alongside with you. Can you hear me?
Go on,
okay.
Mr. Olaleye, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So when you have Bitcoin, when you're holding Bitcoin in the wallet and it's appreciating in value, there is a significant connection with this and other cryptocurrencies, the altcoins. The information that affects Bitcoin also affects those other altcoins. The statement that will be made on Bitcoin to actually increase in value will affect other cryptocurrency, which are the altcoins, to also rise or fall in value. The sync between them is very strong. It's just predictable.
Let us bring it back home to Nigeria. Are there, and is there any significance that this might have, for the Nigerian market, be it the capital market or the equities market? Is there any significance that this might have? Is it even relevant to the Nigerian economy at all?
Yes, it's relevant because we have traders in Nigeria, we have developers in Nigeria, we have institutions, we have retail investors that are also trading cryptocurrency like Bitcoin in Nigeria. So that it has significant impact on individuals of the country, not necessarily the country, because the country also had, okay, I won't go to the e-wallet that we had, but basically the significance of the growth or the fall of Bitcoin in Nigeria is the citizens in Nigeria are also trading cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. And this surge, of course, when it increases in value, it is a thing of gain for any individual that is holding it. And we know what we preach about, what we talk about financial freedom, about getting wealth and helping other people to grow and nation building and all of that. That is where the significance comes in.
The Nigerian Securities and Exchange Commission has been quite vocal on, its position regarding cryptocurrency and the downsides to it. Do you foresee, growth or, development such as this maybe in any way impacting any regulatory framework from the Securities and Exchange Commission or the CBN? Are there any expectations from market analysts like yourself?
Okay, so basically, the SEC in Nigeria is not really, it's about, let me say, it's about to make sure those, some of these regulations are in place, even for brokers, even for cryptocurrency regulations around trading the crypto market itself because of the high volatility and ensuring that Nigerians are not losing their wealth into what they do not really fully understand. Not everyone do. But then there are certain things that must be addressed in the home country before we even go in, before we even delve into the entire logic of this cryptocurrency, Bitcoin for the country. Starting with for like our e-naira in Nigeria, there are certain reasons for low adoption. If we can fight and we could not get that to get so much traction in the country, then imagine what we're going to experience if we want to do the same thing for Bitcoin. So ideally, the way it works is there must be certain thing in place for the SEC to put in place for traders in Nigeria to actually see this impact to be useful for them at the end of the day.
But I'd like for us to speak on the levels of acceptance so far. Last I checked, I was aware that a certain country, El Salvador, had accepted had accepted Bitcoin as its legal tender, and obviously growth like this will impact positively, on countries such as that. But I will want to hear from you, generally speaking, and on a global scale, what has the levels of acceptance been for financial payment platforms, for banks, and for financial institutions and government in general?
Okay, so far so well. In Nigeria, what I've experienced is the government work, the SEC works more on trying to see how these regulations can work more. Because talking of El Salvador, that's somewhere in Central America, September 7, 2021, we made an announcement, public announcement to accept Bitcoin as a legal tender. The same thing for a country in Africa, Central African Republic, that was April 2022, also made an announcement to accept Bitcoin as a legal tender. When we go back to what is peculiar about those two countries' economy is that there was no exclusion for those that could use this in the country. What do I mean? For example, when you say people with bank accounts, only people with bank accounts can make use of financial service. That means we've limited the adoption, for example. When we talk about how the traction will be gained, how the adoption will be high, we'll talk about technological advancement and scalability. That is one. We'll talk about reliable electricity, internet provision. That is two. We'll talk about trust in the government. If the people of the country trust the government so well about any of this modification and innovation, it is going to be adopted quite much more easier than it was. And certain other things around that will guarantee how people will adopt the cryptocurrency like Bitcoin in Nigeria.
But talking about acceptance on a global scale, what are your thoughts on that? Levels of acceptance globally beyond Nigeria?
Okay, for cryptocurrency beyond Nigeria, for Bitcoin rather, beyond Nigeria, the global acceptance has been massive ever since. We had just about 21 million of Bitcoins that's supposed to go into circulation. And currently today, over 19.7 million has already been in circulation. And there's more because the projection is there are still more countries that are coming into the limelight of accepting cryptocurrency as a legal tender. I will cite example, Panama, for example, as a country. Brazil, for example, Paraguay, for example, Argentina, for example, they are also at that brim whereby they want to legislate the legal tender of Bitcoin in their country. As a matter of fact, Ukraine has passed this legislation to check the monitoring and the assessment of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin in their country before they're going to accept it as a legal tender. So which means the world has not yet seen the full maximization of the potential of the Bitcoin. And currently, it's about 19.7 million that has already been grabbed out of the 21 million of the asset. So which means the world is still grabbing this more and more. It's gaining traction by the day. As we speak now, Bitcoin has been around for years. Some people are just finding it interesting to invest in it today. Look at that. So basically, there's so much opportunities that every country now, they're still looking at how they're going to invest in this. Institutions, companies, individuals, retail investors, developers, they are looking more into how they can make use of these opportunities, because the $100,000 that it hit at all-time high in few days ago is not the highest it's going to hit. It's still going to do massive movement in the bullish direction. And some global analysts already know that. Everyone is anticipating that, and everybody is positioned themselves well on how they can make this. Imagine sometimes around 2017, 2016, you had zero point 0.2 Bitcoin. As at then, compare that to today, you'll be having about $20,000. That's more than 34 million naira in Nigeria. And you look at that, just zero point 0.2 Bitcoin. And there are people that were able to invest in Bitcoin as at that 2016 that have made so much money in the market today. So basically, the future is very bright, and the global acceptance for Bitcoin is still on a bullish ride, so to say. People are still looking forward to do that more and more.
But on the other hand, there are concerns around, cybersecurity, concerns around it being on a blockchain, concerns around it being decentralized and, not being able to monitor transactions and even funding terrorism in some cases. Would you say these concerns are valid, or aren't they valid from your own point of view?
Yes, there's also always a concern. One thing about the innovation and technology we have today is, as it's going in a positive direction that we anticipate, we also have to think of the negative direction. Talking of that, the more we are looking at this from a perspective of how it's going to help us to grow wealth and to increase in size, to build a nation and all of that, we also need to check the angle of security. Scams are also coming up every single day. Fraudsters are also coming up every single day, designing ways to strip off people's wealth from them, basically. But at the end of the day, what I do say is education in this finance is most important and it's most critical, because there are certain things that we should know. If you're not an enthusiast in cryptocurrency space, you should rather be an enthusiast before you start the transaction. So as it is for an individual, so it should be for an organization or a firm, and so it should be for a country. So the security part of it is very crucial, and it is something that must be taken serious too. It is a very sensitive concern globally. So as much as we're thinking in how to take opportunities in Bitcoin, we also should think of how to build walls of security in that realm as well. And that will take you to, when you are on platforms, whatever platform it is, being Coinbase, the other guy, name skip me, wherever platform it is that you have, Binance, yeah, that's the Binance, whatever platform you have, for instance, you should know the security gauge, what it takes for you to protect your assets as an individual, as an organization, as a country. It is very, very important, so that the value you have, you can always retain. And that is how to go about it.
One thing we have both agreed on is that it's not Uhuru yet. I mean, we've seen gains like this happen in the past, and we also did see a retracing of those gains. So I will like for you to, give out some advice, some financial advice to those who, have seen this spike and are thinking, finally, I mean, all-time highs, continuous bullish trends. But what would be your advice to traders or to, crypto enthusiasts who are monitoring the market and are seeing the gains that have been recorded in recent times?
All right, so the first thing first, every single time I'll tell is ensure you have this education. That is the most important, because there's a point whereby you should stop buying in the market. There is a point you should stop selling in the market. If you're a complete amateur, or you are not financially inclined in that direction, you will not know all of those times to make those sensitive and critical decisions, and that is not good. First thing, again, is you should be able to understand that the Bitcoin or the crypto market that you see is highly volatile. Wherever you want to invest, consider three things. There is high investment, there is mid-term investment, and there is short-term investment. You should know some are very, very high. Bitcoin is an example. It is very, very volatile in the market. You can lose it all. You can make so much at the same time. But you should know that it is very volatile. Once you know what is volatile means, or what a volatile market means, it will inform how much you want to invest in it. So you investing now means you are investing based on how that suits you, whether for a long term, medium term, or a short term. If you're going for a short term, that may not really be nice, depending on the volatility in the market, because it is a long term thing that is being projected. Imagine 2017 to now, it has moved to over 100,000 US dollar. But when we were in 2017, if I ask you, will you be able to invest in Bitcoin and leave it for the next 8 years or for the next 5 years? Most likely your answer would be no. So basically, it's still going to gain traction, it's still going to increase in value, but as an asset that you do not see physically, it is essential that you invest what you can afford to lose in it because it is high volatile market. And that being said, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose it, but it is not guaranteed. But one thing is guaranteed is this: over the time, over the years, it's going to increase in value. So the essence of that is to know that your investment comes with caution. You're going to invest what you can afford to lose because the market is really, really volatile. That is for crypto market. That is Bitcoin, by the way. So that's good for everybody. Thank you.
Well said, especially, talking about trading with caution. But I will also want for us to speak regarding forecasts. I have seen quite a number of forecasts come from, key players in the cryptocurrency space and across financial spaces globally. And most of these people seem to be very enthusiastic, just like you are. I have even seen a forecast and prediction of saying that Bitcoin just might hit 200,000 to 250,000. So over to you. Do you think that these predictions are feasible? I mean, a further increase by over 100% again. Do you see these predictions really, becoming feasible?
Okay, yes, as a financial market analyst, I will tell you yes, because if we had told you something like this in 2017, a lot of people wouldn't have believed. I know of a guy that threw away 4 Bitcoin as of 2017. 4 Bitcoin. And 1 Bitcoin today is more than $100,000. So that means 4 Bitcoin would be $400,000. Just imagine. So the point is, we may not be able to see the future now, but we can tell what it holds because the technological advancement is heightened. People are getting to know better. More investment opportunities is entering every country. More critical decisions and diplomatic decisions is being made in every nation now. So which means it tends to a direction whereby everybody has to adopt what will make an economy better for them going through this. And the part we talk about data is we have a fundamental data, we have a technical data. A technical data will show us on the chart that there is high opportunity in the market to move here or to move there. But something super to that is the fundamental, like that of influence from the political side I just said the other time. Something like that can actually move Bitcoin to a level unprecedented. So to say Bitcoin with $200,000, yes, most likely to get there. But the only thing the analysts will not be able to tell you is when it will get there. We can talk about where it will get to, but we may not be able to tell you when it will get there. It may be 6 months, it may be 10 years, but what is certain is the way the world is going now is going to get there. So the ideal thing is anyone investing now should have a focus for the long-term investment because at the end of the day, that is what will really matter. There's always retracement in the market and there is always a continuation in the market. After a retracement, we're going to have a continuation. It's going to break all-time high again. It's going to retrace again. People will buy at a lower price again. It's going to break the previous all-time high again. And this is the cycle wash and rinse every single time in the market. And Bitcoin is going to also use this. There are certain other indicators in technical analysis that anyone can use, but you have to be inclined financially to be able to understand those interpretations. Thank you.
I must say that you have expressed very strong optimism about the cryptocurrency market. But just before we go, can you share with us some financial tips on investment, maybe 1 or 2 tips that you want us to go with? It doesn't necessarily have to be about the cryptocurrency market, but generally speaking, even about the equities market. Are there any tips you'd like to share with us, your top 2 secrets to investing?
Okay, so the way the country is currently, going to be sensitive to understand how a lot of masses are feeling with the economy and how people feel with investment right now. If you cannot do high volatile investment, you can do a low risk investment like bonds. I think from the first of the month to 6 or 7 thereabouts, you can buy bonds. That thing that you can borrow other nations your money, you can actually do it. Any 22% for a year, it's something reasonable. You can do that. If you have it, you can do it. As well as 5,000, you can work in a bank and ask for the share for the bond. You can buy bond. Money market is also there. You can do that. These are low risk investments. A neat investment that you can do is to still venture in things like forex trading. It's highly volatile and it could be a very, very risk management plan that you can also follow, because there you can manage what you can afford to lose. Forex trading is also one. And aside from investing, the greatest investment ever is the investment you have in yourself. So right here, there are certain courses or certain skills that you need to have that will take you far beyond now for the next 50 years if they remain relevant. I'm going to state some of them. One, we have the data science and analytics. That if you are learning any skill now or you are ready to take any training, any skill, I beg of you, look into this direction of what you can use to sustain yourself financially for the next 50 years. They will be relevant. I can say that from research. You will have the data science and analytics. You will have the AI, the machine learning. You're going to have that. You have the renewable energy. If you're in Nigeria, you must know how solar energy is taken all over the place now. Imagine you're a consultant or you're a contractor dealing with that. So that's another thing you can learn, making free. You can learn healthcare technology. That's another one that's coming up now. Is rising up, is getting that traction. And blockchain and cryptocurrency. See, all of these I've mentioned, they're going to earn you so much money, but you need to learn them. There are times that will come that we'll be looking for people that can do certain things, and we're not going to get those people because they are just 1 in 100. But I beg you to be that 1 in 100. Cybersecurity, as you mentioned at that time, is also something great. When we look at opportunities, let's look at the downside, and where your position should be is where you should take your stake, what you can do, how you can position yourself. If this thing goes well, everybody likes it. What if it goes south? Then be in that position to know what you can do to mitigate the problem. Let's pick a problem. As a matter of fact, that is exactly the energy of investing in crypto market. One, you should be able to understand what is the use case for the cryptocurrency you want to invest in. That's the first thing, because it must serve its purpose. They must create a cryptocurrency to solve a real life problem. If the cryptocurrency is not solving a real life problem, there is no essence for investment. That is exactly what it is, and that is also reflecting with us as human. Do not forget data analysis, data science, machine learning. All of those I've listed. Please, you can go through that again, and these are the things I would suggest that we invest in. Self-investment is the greatest investment ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Yemmie Olaleye, financial analyst. I like the fact that you said self-investment is the most important investment before we start talking about low yields or high-risk investment. Self-investment first. But thank you very much for all the insights you've shared with us on the program today. Deeply, deeply appreciated.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And that is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of Business Daily. Keep the conversation going across all our social media platforms. My name is Chiamaka Enendu. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.